All right, the Detroit Lions, I'm going to go ahead and say it. They just got a big favor from an NFC rival, and it's none other than the Dallas Cowboys doing dumb Dallas Cowboy things. But how does it affect our Detroit Lions? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, all right? We're also going to talk a little bit about preseason football and some of the things that we saw. But we'll get into that. If you're new to this channel, my name is Craig. Me and my buddy Chris started this channel, 4 years ago or so. We love the Lions, love talking Lions football. And let me just start with this. How nervous are you after the Hall of Fame game, right? And my hope, go ahead, leave it in the comments. Go ahead. Pause it for all I care. Hopefully you don't sound silly. You can't be. I had to fight. I had to fight the urge to get frustrated about it. And if you saw the sideline shots of Dan Campbell, it's pretty clear that he had to fight the urge to be being frustrated as well. And it is one of those things because it was sloppy, it was ugly, it was nasty. We have to remember the Chargers went out there. They did all their OTAs. They did all their mini camps. All right, they did everything. Then they reported to camp, I think a couple of days before the Lions did, and it just shows the difference of all the work they put in the offseason. The Detroit Lions are in year 5 with Dan Campbell. I think the hope is that they have things dialed in enough that they didn't have to put in all that other work. They wanted to instead concentrate on rest. They wanted to get their guys good and healthy and full of energy coming into training camp so that they could, honestly not have too much of a struggle, probably whether it be injuries, whether it be fatigue and all that kind of stuff as a team that quite simply ran out of gas at the end of the year last year and bodies. So that is, I think, the biggest reason why you saw what you saw, and it played out on the field. But the Detroit Lions have to be looking at what's going on over across the country in Dallas. All right, this is Micah Parsons coming out on Twitter about his relationship. He said, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. I wanted to play in front of the best fans in sports and make this America's team once again. The team my pops and I grew up cheering for way up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. Wow. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. I no longer want narratives created, blah, and it just keeps going and going and going. And meanwhile, we have Aiden Hutchinson, right? Rehabbed from injury, back out, playing as hard as he can, not a word being spoken about with the contract, but it does send a very clear signal. It sends a very clear signal because it goes further. It does. It goes further than just Micah Parsons. CD Lamb on Twitter said, never fails, dog. Just pay the man what you owe him. No need for the extracurricular. This has tentacles. This is going to other places. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. It makes it clear to me that the Detroit Lions need to figure out this Aiden Hutchinson situation sooner rather than later. And by the way, if you pay him sooner rather than later, sometimes it's cheaper. Right now, the defensive end market is nuts. I don't know about you, but when Myles Garrett signed a $40 million a year deal with the Browns, I was mad. I was mad at the Cleveland Browns for doing something so irresponsible. I'm like, you are going to give a defensive end starting quarterback money on a team that has zero ability to do it in the salary cap. Zero. All right, so we're going to talk about Aiden Hutchinson and why this is going to be kind of a tricky deal to get done. And you might be asking yourself, well, why is it tricky? This is our salary cap. Right now, we have $51 million in space left over, all right? And here's a reason we're doing it. Now, we've talked about this in the past. We have 51 million. Jared Goff's getting 32, Decker's getting 23, right? And then nobody else is getting a large number. But let's flip over to 2026. all of a sudden, look at this number. Negative 17 million. Now, 47 players on the roster, so you only get charged up to, I think, the top 51. All right, so it's almost a full roster. But now all of a sudden you see St. Brown, Aleem McNeil, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker are all over that 20 million or 30 million threshold. Jared Goff's cap hit is just a smooth 70 million, right? And that's what you have to do when you pay guys big money. But that cap space isn't actually negative 17 million. If we continue with 50 million or 51 million over, then that goes onto the books next year. So it's actually, we actually are 34 million in the net positive in our salary cap. So the hope is that the difference in Hutchinson's contract from 19 and then in 2027, because if you bring it out all the way to 2027, he's off the books. We're back to 94 million in cap space. But in 2026, you go from 19 million, and in 2027, it's going to be somewhere around 40 million. Now, you don't have to give them all that money right away, right? But here's the truth. It's just going to result, and you can keep all these guys. So it is very much doable to keep Hutchinson and give him the money that he deserves, around $40 million. But then I go out and I see articles like this. From Sporting News that says Lions could pull off league-altering trade with Cowboys for Micah Parsons. There is no world that the Detroit Lions in their current state can afford both Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons. It's not doable. Think about it. We still have to sign so many players. Jamison Williams, what are we going to do with him? All right. We already gave Kirby Joseph his money, but he's going to be starting to get that soon. Jahmyr Gibbs, we want to re-sign him. Jack Campbell. Terrion Arnold's going to be due in a couple of years here. 3. All right. 3 more years. Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. Like, you look at all these guys and you're like, no, we're going to have to pay them actual money. So if we want to bring Micah Parsons, it's basically saying bye-bye J-Mo, right? Which, of course, it would be worth that. But it's also saying bye-bye Branch, bye-bye Laporta. Like, I mean, he is the cost. There is a world where Micah Parsons is the same price tag plus a bunch of draft capital as Brian Branch and Sam Laporta combined when their new contracts are due. Like, that's just the way it's going to go. And more, probably more. Brian Branch, Micah Parsons, and Campbell. I don't know. So, like, you have to ask yourself, how good is he? I mean, he's remarkable. But to me, it's not so much a, hey, let's do the trade. It's the, hey, let's get Hutch in a room and let's get this thing done right away. We both know Hutch will appreciate a really good offer because he's coming off an injury. The Lions will probably get a slight discount on his price tag because he's coming off an injury. If you believe he's the guy and you want him to be the cornerstone and the bookend of your defense, give him the money. You gave it to Jared Goff. You gave it to St. Brown. You gave it to Sewell. If you view Hutch as one of these guys, you got to give him the money and you got to figure out the rest later. It's doable in the salary cap right now. So we get a favor because Parsons is out. He's out on Dallas right now. And that's why I'm so happy that we are fans of an organization that get things done the right way. I have not heard until Alex Anzalone, and that's simply he wants to get paid more, and he thinks he's deserved it. And I agree with you, Alex. I do think you deserve to get paid more. But we can't do it with this salary cap and some of the stuff that I laid out. So Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are probably being very upfront with him, and he's in camp. No closed doors like Micah Parsons is talking about, and that's been Dallas's position. Jerry Jones is a prideful man, and he's just sitting here saying, like, I don't want to negotiate with agents. We don't call agents. We only negotiate with the individual players on their own. It's ridiculous, right? Like, talk to the agent, talk to the player. That's the way this works. We've gotten a lot of deals done. I wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be at a random time. Hutchinson, all of a sudden, it's like, yep, they've locked him up. He's good to go. Would love if they did it midway through the season if he stays healthy and looks good. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Don't be discouraged. There's 3 more preseason games. Don't be discouraged till we're 3, 4, 5 games into the season and it still looks rough. It won't. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.